North Carolina.
There is a video though. There's something there. I'll look when I get
That's
home.
very true. Put your hand, thumbs up if you agree with what she said. Good job. She's 100% correct. Why might divorce stop John White from being able to travel back to Roanoke? What do you think, Steve?
Well, they wouldn't have enough ships.
That's right. They did not have enough ships. So next you're going to learn about the Spanish Armada. So an armada is a group of warships. Can we repeat that? What about this half? An armada is a group of warships. Can you guys say that?
An armada is a group of warships.
Good job. What about these two tables?
An armada is a group of warships.
Good job. So Francis Drake was an English captain, and he began a voyage around the world in 1577. And during his voyage, he invaded Spanish ships, and he stole their gold and their silver and their valuables and brought them back to England. And when he returned in 1580, the English were so happy. They thought he was a hero because he came back with all this gold and silver. But the Spanish, they were not happy about this. They just thought he was a nasty thief. And then in 1588, King Philip, who was the king of Spain, had enough of this. He decided to attack England. And then he created the Spanish Armada as a defense for Spain. However, the English ships, they were smaller, which allowed them to sail faster so they could get away from the Spanish ships. And that ended up helping them because the Battle of the Spanish Armada was a major victory for the English, and it made them one of the world's superpowers at the time. So this is the route that they took. If you guys can follow the dotted lines, it goes all the way around and back. And this is a painting of a depiction of what the Spanish Armada would have looked like. So this is probably like a battle going on right here, and you can see all the flames and everything. So we're just going to review very quickly. Who was the famous English captain? Do you have any? What about you in the back, Fred? I can't hear you.
I thought you were going to say something else.
What about you, Steve?
Francis.
Yep. Francis Drake. This is a picture of him right here. And why was he a hero to the English people? What do you think, Cody?
He came back with a lot of gold.
Yep. Yep. Very good.
So now we're going to learn about Jamestown, the colony, which was the first English colony, other than the colony of Roanoke. So in 1606, a group was formed. They called themselves the Virginia Company of London. They asked King James I for a charter to set up a colony in Virginia. So a charter is a document permitting people to set up a colony on land that the ruler owns. So in 1607, 3 English ships set out, and they were carrying 120 colonists. They reached the coast of Virginia. They unloaded their ships on a peninsula, and they called it Jamestown. At first, John Smith thought that this peninsula would be a great place to settle and whatnot, but it ended up not being a very good place because the land was low, and it was damp, there was diseases, and diseased mosquitoes. Next we have the life in Jamestown. The colonists thought that they were going to find gold in Jamestown, so they neglected setting up their colony. They didn't build houses, they didn't try to learn to look for food, they didn't plant any crops. So by the end of the first year, only 38 colonists were still alive. And at this time, John Smith was elected the leader of Jamestown. So a quick review. What is a document that permits colonists to settle on land claimed by the ruler? Yes?
A charter.
A charter, very good. And who was the king that granted the charter at the time?
King Henry I.
Not King Henry. King James was the king. So next we go to John Smith. Okay. John Smith was elected leader, and then they stopped digging for gold, and they began to set up their colony. So they were building houses, they learned how to fish, they dug wells for fresh water. So John Smith began trading corn with Chief Powhatan, who was the leader of the Powhatan Indians. And when Chief Powhatan's daughter, God bless you, was Pocahontas. We all know Pocahontas, right? Yes. So she roamed Jamestown all the time. When John Smith met Chief Powhatan for the first time, he was taken as a prisoner. So Pocahontas actually begged her father to set John Smith free, and that's what you see in this picture. Can you save your question for the end, please? Thank you. So next is the starving time. After John Smith was taken as a prisoner and he was freed, in 1609 he returned to England. So many of the Jamestown colonists started dying again, and they were starving, and that's why it was called the starving time. Jamestown almost became abandoned, but some of the last survivors were able to revive the colony. So one way the colony was revived was tobacco. In 1612, John Rolfe raised the first tobacco crops, and tobacco became Virginia's first cash crop. And I'm pretty sure cash crop might be one of your vocabulary words if you want to look at that. So farms began to grow rapidly to the point where they needed indentured servants. Can we all say that? Indentured servants. Can we try that one more time? Very good. So as the farms were growing, indentured servants, they hoped to gain land and then one day be set free after they worked on the land for a certain amount of time. So in 1619, a Dutch ship arrived in Jamestown, and it contained 20 African indentured servants. But from 1619 to 1622, many of them were dying off because of disease and being overworked and maltreatment from their owners. So, just a quick review. What was the starving time? In the back.
The starving time was when people were dying because there wasn't food. Like there wasn't food, so people were like, they were gonna abandon Jamestown because there were so many people dying because they were starving because they had no food.
Right.
And also, but why would Africans be coming there if there wasn't any food and people were dying?
Because this was a time of exploration, so there was a lot of exploring going on. So do you see how they came over too? The Dutch settlers had come over too. Can I look into that some more and get back to you? Because all I know is right now is that it was a time of exploration. Can we just get through the review quick and then I'll answer questions? So my next question is, in what year did John Rolfe raise the first tobacco crop?
In 1612.
Yes, very good. A crop that is raised for production and not for personal use.
It's cash crop.
Cash crop. And what is an indentured servant? A slave. In other words, but a slave that what? They don't get paid and overworked, and it's a slave that hopes to be free one day and own a piece of the land. And quickly, just the self-government in Virginia. The Virginia Company of London wanted their own land. They wanted to rule their own land. So the Virginia House of Burgesses met for the first time in 1619, and they became the first laws of the English colonies, and they helped establish the tradition of self-government in English colonies. So, I guess. Yeah, we had a bigger review for you guys, but I think we'll just maybe start with that next time, or we'll do some of these questions.
So next time we are going to be looking into the lost colonies in Roanoke, and we're going to have a little activity to do that, to do with that.
Okay, your question.
So Pocahontas was a real person.
Yes, Pocahontas was a real person. Any other last minute questions? What's your question?
Why was Virginia called Virginia?
Why was what?
Virginia called Virginia.
I'm not sure. Can I look into that and get back to you? That's a really good question. I like that question. What's your question? Okay, if you remember, I'll be
We
back.
will see all of you on Tuesday, and we'll have more exciting activities for you to do.
I thought you were saying
We don't have the little one with pay.
I think some of the settlers, as they came
Can I have your attention, please, everyone?
just enough.
The worksheets that you have, can you finish them and bring them on Tuesday? All right, thank you very much.